Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Jeff Mendelson, and this is the One Big Tip podcast. And today I am really pleased to have with me on the line Chris Williams. And, you know, i- if you feel like you're pouring a lot of time and energy into your business without seeing the result, Chris knows exactly what that is like. Before he founded Group Coach Nation, Chris was overwhelmed with meetings, overtime, and other tasks that left him feeling exhausted. And today, Chris's company is helping business owners and coaches quickly scale their businesses by developing high ticket mastermind programs. So, in 8 weeks or less, the Group Coach Nation can give you the tools the tools that you need to attract new customers and begin monetizing your program. So, this is going to be an excellent conversation today. Chris, thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Oh man, Jeff, you couldn't, dude. Just looking at the other people you've had on your show, I am truly honored and grateful that I get to hang out here with you and in your community. What a cool place, dude. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. I'd like to learn a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are today. So basically what you're doing is that you're putting together a course to help people launch masterminds, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. Like how is, a course different from a mastermind and
Mm.
why is that beneficial for them?
Good question. So for me, leading my own high ticket mastermind or group coaching program, whatever you want to call it, leading that process has been so like foundationally different for me than what I was doing before. So, like you, I have my own digital agency. We do full service digital agency work for a group of clients. Here's the thing though. I started trying to figure out how to sell my expertise. Now, many of us do that, right? We become experts, authors, coaches. We're doing one-on-one stuff. We've written an ebook or a real book or whatever, have a podcast. We do all the things. And they're like, I got to freaking monetize this knowledge, right? People are taking me to Starbucks, buy me a cup of coffee, but I should be making a living off this. So I tried building e-courses. I built 5 e-courses, Jeff, over the course of 5 years. Oh my gosh, thousands of hours of my time and my team time combined. And then I added it up recently, over $100,000 in ad spend to market those 5 e-courses. Jeff, I sold one freaking course. It was a $2,000 sale, 1997 or something like that. So I sold one. The person never even logged in and reviewed the content. I'm still convinced, Jeff, that it was probably my wife just like feeling sorry for me because I'm like curled up under the dining room table crying about it. Anyway, I like completely was failing in figuring out how to give my information away for a fee. And then, Jeff, I went to a high ticket mastermind. I paid $30,000 to be in a room 4 times with a bunch of other content creators, experts, digital agency space people. Everybody in there who had a successful e-course selling their information started with their own mastermind or high ticket group coaching program. They started there. And I told him my little process, what I was trying to do. Like, oh my gosh, dude, you missed the step. You got to build your own group coaching thing first, get paid to build that, get paid well, and then you can move on to other things. And once I realized that, I just did what they said to do. And like, I think 7 weeks later, I had my first group of, I think it was 7 people in the first group. I charged $5K per person for that group. I made $35,000 in 7 weeks and was off to the races, building content, recording it, storing it, and getting paid while I was doing it. Couldn't freaking believe it.
I love that story because I went through the exact same thought process. One of the things that, when I describe, like all the crazy Zapier recipes that I have and how I have a filtering process for people to come, onto this podcast, right? Because I don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry life coach to come tell me to manifest themselves, right? I want, I need some kind of filter and I have some pretty great stuff. I mean, you fill out the form, creates a profile sheet, gets added to my CRM, bangs off a couple of automated emails. Like it's pretty hands off. Like it saves literally a half an hour per person, each time that they come in. Right.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I had this total violent allergic reaction to was the world does not need another how-to podcast course. Right. I was just like, I already bought like 3 or 4 of them and they're all great. It's like, oh, you just need to come up with an idea. You can do it with your iPhone. No, you can't. right? I mean, you
Right.
can,
But come on.
yeah, but there are just other ways around it. So what you're not bringing in terms of leveled up gear, you better bring in terms of talent, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's part of what it is. And a friend of mine, Rob Curtis, he has this great quote, and I love sharing it with people. Is that advertising and paid ads is the tax you pay for being unremarkable, right?
Ooh, wow.
Right. Yeah, that stunk,
That
right?
bites right there.
That bites. And think about it. So, a little bit dig to you on what you just described, but
It's true
maybe
though. You know, you
yeah, it's
described
like
me
maybe
exactly.
the
Yeah.
the course wasn't, the way to go. And the fact that you have been able to pivot and find that, right? That for me is also so much more appealing, because I don't just want to record 150 videos and tell you go watch it and then send you a t-shirt, after every module. Like, no, that's not what's going to get it done. What is going to get it done is being able to coach people, being able to engage with them one-on-one or on a one-to-many. If you have like a small group of 10 entrepreneurs that are all basically in the same space and they're moving along together, you can really teach them how to move together and complete this. And that is where you're going to get a much higher completion rate, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah.
When
You're
when
absolutely
you
right.
found out about all that, like when that light clicked on for you, how did that change, besides the monetary stuff, how did that change your perspective, for your agency to be like, okay, yeah, guys, we're turning 90 degrees. We're going west now. Like, how did that look to you?
Oh my gosh, it was confidence. Because here's the thing. So my first mastermind that I was teaching was based on efficiencies and scalability. So in my digital agency, I have 7 staff members. I work maybe an hour and a half a week. All right. I read the Tim Ferriss book and I literally did all the stuff. Right. So I started working a lot less and making more. So I started teaching a mastermind on how to do that. All right. That was the first mastermind I ever started teaching. But I had been trying to teach that process through these e-courses. Obviously, your dig earlier was absolutely accurate. I did not know what I was doing. I didn't know my market. I didn't know their pain points. I didn't know how to bring them in and actually make transformation happen for them. So here's the thing. I was coming into this with 5 huge failures, a lot of money and time spent, and my team looking at me like, dude, can you quit your expensive hobby and get back to work over here in the agency? So when it finally worked, like I remember going into the first couple of sales calls when I was first starting my first high ticket group coaching program and being so scared because I didn't think it would work. I knew it wouldn't work. And all of a sudden it started working. It took me 17 sales calls to close my first high ticket seat. And I was blown freaking away. And then within 2 days, I had closed 3. And then all of a sudden, I was off to the races. And it opened my eyes up and gave me new hope and a new place to realize no, what I know is valuable. I just didn't know how to put it in front of someone where they could take action with me. I didn't know how to do that part. That's so pivotal. Like that's where it's at. It's always comes down to prospecting and selling. And until you know how to do that organically, no amount of ad money will fix your problem. That's you automate the organic. And if the organic prospecting and selling isn't working, the ads sure won't. Wow.
What's interesting about the ads is that, and especially now with the changes that, between Apple and Facebook, and they're restricting the amount of targeting that you can do, a lot of marketers are flying blind.
Mhm.
And not only that, you can get flagged and you can get kicked off the program for the stupidest of things, right?
Mhm.
And what happens there? If you're basing your business on a Facebook ad, right? And it doesn't matter whether you're spending $10 a day or $5,000 a day. It does not matter. QuickBook will kick you off that platform just as fast because they don't care. Right.
Right.
And then go figure out what it is that you did wrong. And you're going to be 30 days in the doghouse, like whatever it is. And it's like, dude, you need to own your own list. You need to own your own platform in order to, make this happen.
Mhm.
Let's talk about your one big tip here. And, it's all about, it is all about creating the mastermind, into, attracting your dream, your dream customer. And like you said, you were able to monetize what a lot of people would say is a lot of money, within 2 months.
Hmm.
Can we talk a little bit about what are some of the mid to higher level steps that are involved that someone can use to get started today in order to
Yeah.
make that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. First things first, Jeff, you got to have your own platform. And it doesn't, it's awesome to have your own email list. And that comes over time. Everybody will get there eventually. It's great to have your own podcast, great to have your YouTube channel, Facebook group, whatever you want to make your space in. But bottom line is the place you have to start is you have to have a platform that you can stand on, a stage you can stand on and actually make connections happen. If it's video and audio and written, it's better. We all consume information in video, audio, or in writing. So something like as simple as a Facebook group, let's use Facebook groups as an example. You don't own the platform, but you do have a chance to build a stage there. You can build a Facebook group and get video, audio, and written, and actually invite people in your target market to that place and have meaningful conversation one-on-one and in a group setting. In a podcast or YouTube channel or Clubhouse or LinkedIn, you can do similar things. Bottom line is you got to have a community that they can see you on a stage and you can interact with them in group and one-on-one conversations. When those things happen together, it starts making magic. Then it's a tactics issue of getting them to sales calls and actually inviting them into your program if it's right for them. But that's absolutely where it starts because that's the organic piece that allows people to really get to know and like and trust you. We hear that over and over and over again, but that know, like, and trust thing is so foundational. So no matter where you are, no matter where you're starting, you got to have a soapbox, so to speak, old school soapbox, sit down on the ground, stand up on it, and talk about politics in the 1800s or whatever. You got to have a little bit of a stage to stand on where you're head above the crowd and they can see you and you can interact.
Let's talk a little bit about the avatar or the ideal client that you need to attract in order to create a mastermind like this. What I think would not be fruitful for you is to say, like, I'm going to create a mastermind of chiropractors, right? I mean, it's just like even there, you're too wide of an audience,
Uh,
right? They all can benefit from a sales funnel, right? A lot of them, they go to med school, for 5 to 10 years. They don't learn beans and business courses, right? They have someone else doing their accounting and all that stuff, right? But but it's not just enough to identify one group. It's like you need to niche down and then niche down again and then just niche down again until it really hurts. And how do you know that it really hurts? It hurts when you're talking to the smallest amount of people that are also the most engaged. Right. So we're not just talking about we're going to create a mastermind that's going to help agency owners get to $1 million. There's probably 150 of those, out there. But if you can make a very unique promise or a very unique offer, right? It's got to be so unique that there simply is no competition, right? That nobody else is saying the same thing. How do you
yeah.
come up with something like that? How do you construct that offer so that it does speak specifically to the type of people that you're targeting?
Well, number one, you don't go in your closet or pantry or in your garage and close your car door and do it alone. That's for sure. You have to pick that niche in public and it's messy. There's no other way around it. So, back to this whole stage platform, whatever you want to call it, where you like have a Facebook group, let's say, having a place where you can talk to your audience and interact with them in a group setting and one-on-one in chats or whatever gives you a chance to really find out who are these people. What are their pain points? What are their needs? What's their dream? What's their drain? And what's their doubts? Like their dream, their big goal. What's their drain? The thing that, like, I don't have enough time or money to do this. And their doubts. I've failed before. I'm not the right person. I'm not enough. What are their dreams, drains, and doubts? Writing those things down. That gives you a great idea of who the people are in your market. And can you help them fix those things to accomplish their dream? That's a thing, right? You got to know that. But how you're going to really niche down is you're going to really start saying, okay, of all the people I'm talking to in my community, which ones are the ones that actually want to jump on a call with me? Which ones are the ones that actually chime in and make comments or give me a like or a thumbs up on my posts? Which one are the ones that reply to an email thread if I'm going through emails? Who's actually going farthest in reciprocating that relationship with me. I look at every one of those people. My team does it now. Early on, I was looking at every single one of them. Even though I had a team when I started my own mastermind program, I was still looking at all those. And I was clicking on their links, looking at their profiles on their social media platforms, trying to figure out who are these people who are actually feeding back information and energy and relationship with me. And once I started figuring that out, it's like, okay, here's who they are. Here's the kind of person they are. Here's the kind of hobbies they have. Here's the kind of industries they're in. Here's all this stuff. It started getting clearer and clearer. Here's who wants to interact with my message. And then I would see, okay, who wants to jump on a sales call? And then I would analyze that smaller group. Who's starting to buy from me? I would analyze that smaller group. And now we're constantly, every 90 days, my team goes back through everybody who's interacted with us at any level. And we re-go through and look at those avatars and find out, should we narrow this down more and more and more? Literally every 90 days, we are focusing our niche deeper and deeper and deeper. That is a practice that we will never quit, because that practice allows us to be the best in our space. Otherwise, you're just going to be diluted and be just another noisy person out there talking.
That is so profound. Thank you so much for breaking that down, because I think what a lot of people should be getting from this conversation, right, is that it's not what you know, right? It's not like, yeah, I know a lot about, Microsoft Azure products or
Sure.
AWS or how to build websites with WordPress, right? It's what you do with it, right? And there are people that will build a WordPress website for a business for $500. There are also a lot of people that will do it for $5,000. There are more than a few agencies that'll do it for $50,000, right? And basically, we're talking about the same technology, right? But what happens? It's how correct you come when you are engaging with this client. Obviously, you need to be speaking the same language that someone that's willing to part with $50,000 for a site is not going to be the same conversation that you have for 500, right?
Mhm.
But you need to be able to talk and to articulate your offer directly with that person so that you can command those fees, right? Because if you can get somebody from point A to point B and there is a monetary value to doing that, right? At the end of the day, the cost of your program, the cost of being in your mastermind, and the cost of being of not being alone, because let's face it, entrepreneurship is really lonely, right? Especially now with everyone working from home. It's like we can't travel as much, we can't go out as much, and everyone's social distances and so you really need to be clear on who it is that you're serving, right?
Mhm.
And if you can nail that down, that is actually going to be the mother load. And I think to your point, it's not really that hard to talk with them, because most of the time you want to be talking to you 4 years ago, right?
Right.
Where were you 4 years ago when you were figuring all this out and making these courses and not making any money at it? If you would have had that knowledge then that you have now, of course you would have, hindsight is 2020. You would have flipped all that around big time, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so true. And it is hindsight 2020, and that is exactly like you said, what people want to buy. And Jeff, your process, like you're taking people who are authors, coaches, speakers, experts, et cetera, who don't have a podcast yet, and showing them how they can actually land those really awesome clients via the podcast platform, and using that as the relational connector and the stage builder. Like, that is a brilliant thing, because so many people just simply don't know how easy it is and how simple it is to go from where they are now to what you're teaching. But that's where you used to be, right? I mean, you used to be a guy without a microphone. Now you're Jeff with a microphone. And it's not just because you got a microphone and plugged in and started talking. It's because there's a strategy and a process, and that's what you teach. And I think that's brilliant. And by the way, folks listening in, like, you got this guy who's produced hundreds of episodes. He freaking knows what he's doing. Send him a message, ask him questions. You hardly ever find cool resources like Jeff in the market that are actually willing to engage and say, here, let me point you in the right direction. That's a really cool thing.
It's
And
all
it's
about paying it
because
forward.
it is. And it's because you've learned, you've gone through the heartache, blood, sweat, and tears, and money to figure out how to crack the code on this thing. Well done.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that. Hey, Chris, can you let everyone know how they can learn more about you and how they can reach out to you directly if they want to get in
Absolutely.
touch.
Absolutely. So there on the screen, you can see 8weekmastermindlaunch.com. You can obviously find some free training there if you want to learn how to launch a mastermind group of your own, a high-ticket group coaching program of your own, or groupcoachnation.com. Groupcoachnation.com is our kind of home for everything. We have a ton of free resources, a ton of stuff there for you to engage in. If you're an author, coach, expert, speaker, podcaster, somebody who's got an expertise, particularly in the business space, entrepreneurship space, marketing, sales, those kind of things, we can show you how to monetize that really rapidly by building your own high-ticket group coaching program. It's not rocket science. It's just a blueprint. And most of us simply just don't know what step to take next. I promise you, you're closer than you think. You've already put in the blood, sweat, tears, and money to become who you are. Share it with the world. It's easier than you think.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much for doing that.
Hmm.
This has been an amazing conversation, very inspirational. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. This has been absolutely amazing.
Dude, Jeff, it's been a privilege. Like all you folks listening, watching, and Jeff, just thanks for hanging out with me. I freaking love doing this. It's great to get out.
Thank you, man. Make it a great day.